last poem I will present to you is one that I've written. It's called Seduced by the Rain, and it's not quite as sexy as that one. This one was inspired by a hurricane, the anticipation of a hurricane that we were expecting in Florida. I think it was called Hurricane Charlie. And I was getting my things off the balcony to bring it in, you know, everything that happens, the anticipation of a hurricane. A soft wind touches my cheek, and I smell you from a distance. A thought quickens to my mind, and I realize it's been too long since I last saw you. Gray clouds roll in, impregnated by the fullness of your weight. Strong winds grow impatient as blustering breezes lift the water tops like beads of sweat suspended in midair. And then the dance begins. The boats rock, the trees sway, and the seagulls ascend in screeching panic to search for a safer haven. But yet, in all its willful wrath and its unrelenting fury, I feel an eerie sense of calm, knowing that you're here with me, sharing the smell of seduction from the rain. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope everybody enjoyed. And if you have any questions or comments, I know you guys have some questions or comments. You can go ahead and feel free to ask any of the writers that are here with us today. Are people being shy? Okay, come on.
My question to you, you mentioned Audre Lorde's essay, which I love, and if you guys could just define personally what the erotic means to you, and how you interpret it and how you use it in your music. Wow.
Good question.
That's a great question.
Is it directed to
I think so, yeah.
Well, you tackle it since you talked about Audre Lorde.
See, I tried to cheat by just quoting Audrey on it. Because really, when I think about it, it is a sort of expression of a certain inner juiciness, if you will, right? A richness and connection, but exhibiting it out in the world. So the paragraph that follows the one that I read is also the one I really love, which is that it can be in anything, right? It can be in that connection with another person. It can be in painting a fence. It can be in watering the plants in your home. It can be in, or as I chose for this event, you know, just I found all of those gatherings, those sort of communal gatherings where we all got together and sweated together and we laughed together, also to express that.
So for me, it has to do with a gentleness with every single facet of life. That's what erotic is to me. It's not pornography. Erotic is most beautiful of all. And I have never, I'm writing this piece called Rattan right now. It's very, very romantic, but people think that eroticism is pornographic, but it's very gentle. It's very what you get from the air, what you get from what you taste, what you smell, and that's what I think about. Yeah, I don't know if it's well explained, but
Sounds good.
thank you.
Well, for me, one of the things when Dr. Oko Palmer approached me in Jamaica and asked me if I would participate in this book, Caribbean Erotic, I was a bit reluctant because at the time I wasn't sure how I defined erotic. And so as a result of not wanting to be pigeonholed as the erotic poet from the Caribbean, I hesitated, but I'm so glad that I kept an open mind and I decided that I was going to move forward with it. Because in the final analysis, what erotic means to me, it's an expression of an inner spirit. To me, it's an expression of an energy that pervades us in everything that we do. In this book, you will notice that a lot of the writers make references to fruits, like guavas and mangoes and sapodillas and jamuns, and things that are just common things, you know, just everyday things in where we have all grown up. But yet you can find something erotic in your relationship with the fruit, the mango tree. You can find something erotic with the sea, the ocean, the river, the streams. Erotic to me is just a part of being one with self and with a bigger energy.
What I wanted to say, I wanted to congratulate all of you for juxtaposing the magnificence, beauty, and energy of the Caribbean with this particular theme. And as Brendan just pointed out, and I was listening to all of you as you spoke about the fruit, you spoke about the water, the sand, the energy. Especially when you travel around to various parts of the world, you realize the special nature of the Caribbean. Many times, because we live there, we grew up there, we take it for granted. But there's a certain energy, just even the beat of the music, which I didn't hear too much of, but I think you did capture some of that in talking about the dance hall. But the beat of the music also, I think, is so magnificent. So I must congratulate all of you just for your thought process and for bringing these things to our attention, because it's around us. But when we don't have the gift that you have, we don't think about it. Thank you.
I have a question just to go off of that. Anyway, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but the arts and culture is very lively, especially with the young people. Have you guys ever considered going back and teaching, especially in the field of poetry and literature? Because I know for Trinidad, we just kind of, at least the people that I know, just kind of started little open mic nights and that type of thing. And I feel like that kind of died away. The Caribbean is more lively here. When you leave, when you come here, you kind of reflect on the beauty of the island and the appreciation. But what about interjecting it like back home, especially people who are passionate for writing and poetry and that type of stuff to keep that alive? Especially when you look at you guys. There's a question if you guys plan to go back or try to teach with the connection with your homelands. I know for you, you are everywhere. So.
Okay, I'll tell you this. I attended a school called Marabella Bautista School. I left there 50 years. You know Marabella Bautista School? My very dear friend is a guy called Lance Delaney, who died recently. And we've done things all over the world, Lance and I. And I don't know if I could go back, because people have a tendency to say, the way you was about the time now, you understand? You don't want to hear that. But sometimes whenever I get there, then I'm able to talk to people who are writing, and I do. I always do. My daughters are there all the time. They're dancers and they're teaching, all of that. So yes, you have a point. And yes, we do. We do. In more ways than one. Okay?
One of the great things that Colin Channer did, Colin Channer is from Jamaica, and is Colin a professor as well? I believe he's a professor, but he is involved with the literary arts. And he was the executive producer of a festival down in Jamaica, an annual festival down in Jamaica called the Calabash Festival. As a matter of fact, it was at the Calabash Festival that Opal Palmer Adisa spotted me after I had presented a poem and asked me to get involved in this endeavor. But one of the things that Colin did, which was, I think, was really great, was that he brought to a very remote part of Jamaica, not Kingston, not Montego Bay, but an area in Jamaica called Treasure Beach. He brought this Calabash Festival annually. And people came from all over the Caribbean to present at this event. I've noticed that recently in Trinidad, there has been a literary festival. Just about a few weeks ago, there was a literary festival down in Trinidad that was brought to Trinidad by some of the people who are involved with the publishing of this book, Pt2.mov Press. They brought a literary festival called the Bocas Festival. Yeah. And I'm looking at, with some other people of like minds, putting together something like this for Guyana. I'm from Guyana. And so I think it's a good question, because it raises the issue of bringing the literary arts back really strong to the Caribbean. Because I remember when I was growing up, it was something that was there. It was something that inspired me as a young woman growing up. We had a lot of literature, in the school system, in the curriculum. It was a part of our curriculum. And I've always liked that area of learning.
It still is, but it's just deeper. Like, it's not as, I did CXC and stuff for 5. And we still have a lot of literature, we still have the Skype and all that, but it's still, like what I'm hearing here is very, very different from how it is now.
Yeah. Well, what you're hearing here is different, yes. erotic stuff, but it's good, and I do agree with you that it's something that should be, you know, exposed a little bit more, because we're all erotic beings. We're all sensual and sexual beings, and we shouldn't be embarrassed or too shy or too, you know, prudish, if you will, about our sensuality. You know?
And just to add to the question of prudishness and the spread of literature, Colin Kwame Dawes and Justine Hensel were the producers for Calabash, which was one of my excuses for going home every year. It really was an amazing festival, and during the course of the year, between festivals, they also ran a writing workshop. And so one of the sessions at Calabash was always dedicated to writers who had been part of Jamaican writers who had been part of that workshop in Jamaica. But just recently, in the same Treasure Beach, they had their first ever performance of the vagina monologues to start talking about domestic violence. And let me tell you, if you go to treasurebeach.net, the discussion board lit up. I don't know about what was going on here, but in interesting ways, yes? So I totally agree, there's always room for more, but I know that from people that I know and work with, drama is thriving, and more writing workshops. The internet is facilitating things. There's something called National Novel Writers Month that happens online every November, and if you check in there, there's a whole segment of people from the Caribbean who are playing along. The goal is to write a novel in a month, and they do the same thing for screenplays in April every year. So hopefully we'll keep it growing.
Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Thank you. I just want to add, I mean, I think that was a wonderful question, just because I think the younger generation of Caribbean women and men, we're a little nervous to express ourselves in that way. So I just think that was a great question. I just wanted to add that.
One thing that I noticed, I have to say this, is that many of the audience are very young people, and this is you know, boon to what we do. And I thank you very much, and congratulations for being thoughtful enough to come listen to war horses like me. Thank you very much.
I would like to say thank you to all of you for coming to participate and to support Caribbean Erotic. I'm glad that your response to our presentations were so warm and welcoming. It made us feel really good that you appreciate what we're sharing with you here this afternoon. I would also like to thank Finiana Joseph for putting this program together.
Finiana, please stand up so everyone knows who you are.
It's very nice. And for Penny Richards-Davy for assisting Finiana with the production of this event. I would like to thank you.
And I would add my thanks to both of those very eloquent statements. I hope that there are also writers here who are expressing their own sense of the erotic and the Caribbean and our own lives, and look forward to seeing your work in print sometime too. Thank you.
I'll also add that I would love to thank Finiana, because since Finiana saw the first presentation in February, she's very passionate about making sure that we were aware of the book and aware of the writers, obviously. So she did a good job. Thank you, Finiana.
The book, you can buy it off of the internet, and I understand that you can also get it off of Amazon.com. I understand Amazon is carrying it. Or you can go to Pt2.mov. Pt2.mov.com. Pt2 Press, they're the publishers of the book. And back here it says Pt2press.com. So you can get it from Pt2. You can also order it from the publisher, who is directly in, you can get it directly from them. Okay?